Hospital bypasses the local police. Hey, it's Susan. Welcome to tonight's episode of War Crimes Unit. Hey, nice to see ya. Get a stun gun from Damsel in Defense. 7.5 million bolts could save your life one day. They all come with a removable safety pin, so if the bad guy grabs it, it can't be used against you. And they're also rechargeable. You can find one at the iSUS Home Shopping Mall on Facebook, and Damsel in Defense will ship it directly to you. Oh my gosh, not the first time this has happened. God, a hospital bypassing the local police. Jeez, God, nightmare. Okay. All right, first of all, let me tell you, I called the police. Okay, now even Special Agent Paul Burkholder, even though I fired him this past week, never want to talk to him again. But a couple years ago, he told me, he's like, okay, even if you were in WITSEC, you'd still have to call the police. WITSEC being the Federal Witness Protection Program. Well, yeah, but then I'd also be able to call the Marshal Service. They could move me when this shit happens. Right? But anyway, here's what happened tonight. And you know what? The dispatcher, when I called her after it happened, she said, do you want me to send an officer out? I was like, well, shoot, I'm thinking to myself, see, I'm an ER nurse, too. See, look at this. Nurse. This is critical care. But I work in the ER and I work in the ICU. Okay, but here's who I am. Krista St. Vincent. I don't know. See, in my situation, it's hard to hide because I have these bad FBI agents and the CIA Mark Moore. Oh, God, jeez. And I'm like, oh, God, I don't know. And it was the same dispatcher the other night when I called her so I could make in, this official police report when I got, this letter from U.S. Senator Martin Heinrich. I'm like, oh, my God. I just think to myself that this is so non-emergent. I triage it, at a 4 to 5. I might need the police to call 911 later, which would be like a 1. I hate to use up my lifelines. I don't know. Send an officer out? I guess she could have sent an officer out. There was nothing. I don't know. I guess I just hate to bother them because shit happens to me all the time. But, I felt like I needed to be reported, but not necessarily have to inconvenience an officer to come out. I don't know. 50-50. My situation's always 50-50. But I'm telling you, if something happens again, I'm calling 911. So I'm sitting here, and I'm on Facebook because I'm trying to share this video that I made about Damsel in Defense stun guns saving lives. It was a true story of what happened to me in the middle of the night down in Tijuana. Hey, man, I gotta tell you, this thing worked. This guy ran. I pulled out a stun gun. This guy ran. Because the bad guys, they cannot tell that this is a stun gun. They think that you might have a taser. See? They don't like that. So I'm sitting here, and all of a sudden there's a knock at my door. And I'm like, oh, crap. Damn. See, because I was trying to get out of here today. And I didn't know who it was. So I just sat here. They knocked again. Then they opened my door, and I'm like, oh, crap. See, I had the safety lock. Thank God I had the safety lock. And then, so I tiptoed to the door. I looked out the people. I didn't recognize the guy who was in normal clothes, light blue shirt, white guy. Didn't recognize him, and I'm like, came back, sat down, thought maybe he'd go away. See, this has happened before. It's happened in Indio, California, where somebody had a key to my hotel room and just opened it up. Middle of the night. But, okay, so then I went to the door when he said it was hotel management. I was like, okay, and he knew my name, Miss Knisley. He said it wrong. But then I opened the door, and the woman behind him was a hotel staff worker. She was in uniform. She was in a Marriott uniform. So I recognized her from, being an employee here. Him, I did not recognize. So that scared me. Okay, I probably should have had the police officer come out just to question him, just because of that, just because I didn't recognize him. Okay, but anyway, at hindsight, all right, moving forward, so the story was that the hospital called them, and they were doing a well-being check, and that's not how that works, dude. You don't call a well-being check. Why didn't the hospital call the police? I just worked there Friday night. I just had the police come out. They took a whole report. Okay, and so the hospital, the intensive care unit at the hospital, they know that the police were out taking an official report. And then, after that officer left, see, I got retaliated against all night. I mean, this travel nurse, Brian, he was like on me, and oh my God, it was horrible. It was horrible. Horrible. Lord, dude. Interfering with patient care, even. Thank God my patients were still alive when I left. Oh my Jesus. So, and then something happened Saturday, and I couldn't get to work, and there was just something not right. And I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm done. I'm done. I couldn't get to work. There was a scandal. The hotel shuttle was just, of course, I'd scheduled it, and all of a sudden it was mysteriously not there, and it was going to be like 25 minutes before they were going to come. And then, of course, the same story was coming from Capital Taxi. So obviously somebody didn't want me to get to work or wanted me to get to work late to make me look bad, right? That's something that the FBI does. They've hacked taxis before. They did that up in Anchorage. It happened in Anchorage, Alaska. Purposefully made me late for work. Okay. So anyway, I didn't show up for work Saturday night. God, you know what? Nobody called to check on me till 8:20 on Labor Day. 8:20 on Labor Day. 2 days later. 2 days later. See, now, they're not concerned about my well-being. I foiled their sting operation or their black operation at the hospital. That's what I did. See, they're pissed. Because they were probably all getting some kind of payoff or bribe or, whatever. I just want to let you know, so you don't think I'm crazy, that one police officer here in Santa Fe has already called this RICO. These are RICO violations, RICO violations are conspiracies. So I'm not crazy, okay? So that's a real U.S. law, RICO violations. There's 8 under the state law, like 26 or something under federal law, RICO violations. See, why did they not call the police? See, they don't want the police involved because the police would do an investigation. They would come. See, well, you know what? It was actually a deputy sheriff down in Sheriff Paul Baboose County explained this to me. This is how they do their investigations. So, law enforcement's called. They would come out, and then they would, question me, and then they would go and question these other parties. Because if I would have said, well, the hotel people came to the door, and, then he would go and interview the hotel people, and then, depending on what they said, then he would, call the hospital. You see, and then figure it all out from there. But see, so they wanted to bypass the police, which would bypass a police investigation. Because they don't want the police involved at all. Now, who do I think is doing this? Of course, I think it's the FBI and this FBI, CIA, Al-Qaeda task force, and I'm sure this is Mark Moore. Who's connected into this? Christine Kipp. The chief nursing officer at Christus St. Vincent. She was also the chief nursing officer at Valley Hospital in Las Vegas, Nevada. At the same hospital where, my son went missing after his major assault, and Mark Moore's driving me to work every day and taking my money, and I'm working 17 days straight in a row, and, I'm working all these days, and my Honda Prelude was taken from her ER and stuff like that. That would be the link. If you were looking at organized crime, if you were looking if there was a common thread, the link would be Christine Kipp, the chief nursing officer, who might be somehow hacking this through. There could be other methods, I'm not sure. But there's some reason that the hospital provided, if it's true that the hospital was really, wanting a well-being check, they bypassed local police and just called the hotel. Now, one nurse named Vanessa knows that I live here because she brought me home one day. Another nurse knows that I live here. His name is, what's his name? Bruce. He works for Freedom Healthcare Staffing. See, I'm not employed by the hospital. I'm employed by a nursing staffing company. And I don't have any evidence that anybody called my nursing company either. Nobody's called my nursing company. Because if my nursing company, got a message that I didn't show up for work on Saturday and then again tonight, they would be contacting Freedom Healthcare. Freedom Healthcare would be contacting the hotel, but that was not the message from the hotel staff. That was not the message that Freedom Healthcare, and I even clarified with it. I said, now, who called you for a well-being check? Was it the hospital or was it Freedom Healthcare, my staffing company? They said the hospital. So there's something not right with that. Well, you know what? Something happens again. Somebody comes knocking at my door. I'm just gonna have to call the police. Depending on the level of severity, whether or not it'll be a non-emergent to dispatch or it'll be a 911 call, will yet to be determined. But it's kind of one of those things when something like this happens, because everything that happens to me is organized crime and it's so shady. Sometimes I just have to monitor it a little bit. So, but anyway, I added it online to the police report. So it's documented within the police report, but I wasn't quite sure if I needed to have inconvenience an officer. I don't know. I guess I probably should have. See, I'm doing this video and I'm thinking in hindsight, God dang, I guess I should have had an officer come out, right? You could have interviewed all these people, but then I think to myself, oh God, and with my case, hell, dude, something can happen 2 hours later and they'll be out again. I remember telling the Phoenix police that. I was like, God, I could have you guys out all the time. And they're like, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. You just need us. You just call us. I'm like, oh God, all right. But I feel bad. I feel bad because I don't know how many lifelines I've got. One thing I gotta tell you, that the Santa Fe Police Department is very ethical and they're very nice and they're very professional. I really dig this police department here. It's just too bad that my job is at the hospital. It's too bad. Because see, I could stay here in the city where there's a nice police department. I went through the same thing when I was up in Marysville, California. They were such a nice police department too, but the hospital was so damn corrupt. I mean, it's a catch-20. Who is more corrupt here? Rideout Memorial Hospital or Christus St. Vincent? I mean, I don't know. Right now, though, they're in a tie for first place. That's one thing that I know the feds don't like, is that they would not like a police department being ethical or nice to me or just following the laws. Just following the law and being courteous, being courteous. Following the Constitution, following due process, all that kind of stuff. Because the FBI, this FBI task force would definitely want them to be mean to me. There's a lot of police departments that are mean to me. Agent Trevino with U.S. Border Patrol, he had to chew out the Harlingen police officer. Oh my God, that whole situation, that was so horrible. It was horrible. I was going to get kidnapped down there. God. I mean, you should have seen it's just too bad I can't bring Agent Trevino into the hospital with me. Then he could just start punching all these people. But I mean, that's, sometimes, a lot of times the police aren't nice to me. The police are very nice here. I really appreciate that. I totally dig that. Well, strangeness. It's not the first time that a hospital has bypassed the police. It's a common problem. Common problem that's going on here in the United States. And for whatever reason, I guess it's yet to be determined, yet to be discovered. I mean, it would be interesting to know exactly how many people are getting bribed and paid off by this. Who knows? Maybe Santa Fe PD, maybe they'll be the ones to break the case. That's tonight's episode of War Crimes Unit. Keep your stun gun or machine gun handy. There's real criminals and terrorists out there. I'll see you next time.